Welcome back, everyone, to another Ark Survival Evolved Scorched Earth DLC gameplay video. In today's video, I want to do a couple of things, really. But first, before I even get into those two things, I admit that, in Ark, I've put in, according to Steam, over 400 hours now in the game. And it's always exciting when I can do something new and different. And these wyverns, or dragons as I usually call them, have been something different for me. It's a different way to tame things, going in, stealing the eggs, and that whole thing, the danger of it and all that kind of thing. Figuring out the strategy of finding them, how do I get in there and get out without being killed, and all that kind of stuff is fun for me. And I enjoy the challenge. I enjoy the exhilaration that I get from doing that, as you probably could see from the video that I did on stealing the egg. Now, the egg that you saw me get in that video was for this guy. Actually, I should say this girl, named Milkshake for a very interesting reason. It took so long for me to hatch this thing that I was practically starving, and I gave my youngest son, who is in the second grade, the option of naming him, and he said that we were so hungry, basically he was craving a milkshake so badly, so the name became Milkshake on this guy. So right now, Milkshake is at a level 110. Started out hatched at a level 60. So we're doing good on that one, but then I decided to go back and get another one. Was really looking for one of the other two types, either the electrical or the poison. Instead, what I was able to find was another fire, and this guy, named Smokey for his color and obviously because he's a fire variant, he came out as a 68, so I was excited, but it turns out his levels when he hatched were actually lower on most everything than my level 60 egg. He came in at just about 3,000 health. And as you can see now, I've pumped that up to 5,000. Stamina is now up to 1,500, which if you're just flying around is basically infinite for the purposes of this map, because you can get from one side of the map to another very quickly in these guys and without using up all the stamina. So that part works good. I pumped it up a little bit more to give some room for fighting. First of all, what is that noise? Okay, it's the water bug. Let's go ahead and take your water so that you will fly away. Okay, so oxygen and food make no difference. Weight, it was the one thing he was higher in. He started out at about 460 as opposed to, I believe, 406. So it was a little bit higher in weight, but other than that, he was actually lower in all the other stats, which was a little bit disappointing. But as you start to level these guys up, it really makes no difference, because you can choose to make them into whatever you want. As you can see, Smokey is now level 117 and Milkshake is at a 110. So they're very high level, again, compared to anything I've seen in the wild, with most of those being in the high teens, maybe low 20s, maybe a few in the 40s. So I'm feeling good about these guys. So back to the two things I want to accomplish today. I was mentioning at the very beginning of the video that when you have over 400 hours in a game, there's a lot of things that you find yourself doing a lot. And a lot of that is resource grinding. You gather metal, you gather the chitin for the cementing paste. You do these things over and over and over and over. So those can get very tedious. Well, today we've got two things that finally will give me something I've never done in Ark before. First, wind turbines. Now, I did a little bit of research on these, just enough to sort of not try to be too dangerous and put these in the wrong place, because they do take up some resources. So I decided, okay, so let's do a couple of wind turbines. But before that, you need to know if the area of the map you're in, and for right now, by the way, my understanding is these only work on Scorched Earth. The plan, as I understand it by the developers, is to make these compatible in other maps that are released in the future, as well as the island and center. But for now, my understanding is they only work on Scorched Earth. And they are here to generate electricity. and hopefully without the annoying buzz and whine of the electrical generator. So let's try these things out. All right, what I want to do is, you see the generator to the right, sort of what would end up being the back of this thing. That's where the wire is going to come out. So I want to place it like this. The idea is I want to place 2 of these back behind the building and run the wires up and into the top level, because that's probably where I'm going to end up putting basically everything that's electrical. And if not, then I should be able to reach the wire down to the lower level as well. But before we can do that, I needed to make sure that we were in an area that supported these things. Now, if you're on the PC, as I am, you hold down H, and in the top left-hand corner, you'll see some information. First, at the very top left, you'll see the time. And as you can see, I'm nearing midday here. I'm on day 11 on this particular map. Now, that's misleading for me because I slow daytime way down and speed up the nighttime. So days are much longer for me generally here than they would be typically. I'm located in the Southern Mountains, which I've showed you guys on the map before. This is where I'm located, in close proximity to the Red Tower, which I'll show you is right over there because of the resources that are nearby to me. So what other information do we get? Well, there's an 85% W. Well, the W stands for wind, and the 85% means that there's an 85% chance that a wind turbine at any given time will produce electricity, which is pretty good. Now, if you get up in the mountains, you can get 100%, which is as good as you can get. And if you get down into some of the lower lying areas, generally where the water pools are, or the small lakes, if you want to call them, they are much lower. It could be 20 or even 40% down there. Now, it doesn't mean you can't produce electricity. My understanding is your chances are simply better if you have a lower percentage than 100, which for me is 85, which is pretty good, I think. Not optimum, but pretty good. What it means is your chances are better with more wind turbines. So what I'm going to do is, with such a high percentage, I'm going to start out with just 2 wind turbines and connect them together into the same wiring network, with the idea being that each turbine has an 85% chance at any given time of producing electricity, which means that most all of the time I should have electricity out of this setup. It's possible that I might need an additional 1 or 2 or something. Who knows? But for now, I'm perfectly happy with this. Now, unfortunately, because of the setup here, I can't really show you the top as it is. But my plan is to put one sort of at the edge here, like that. Now, this guy is producing electricity. Now, that's not the way I thought that was going to be, because that's almost hitting the top of the building. So I actually thought the blades would be facing out that direction. But no matter. As long as they're turning and it's not causing any havoc, we'll be fine. The main thing I wanted was to have the generator portion of this facing toward the building. All right, so the second one, again, my plan is to take these and have them, let's see how close it will actually let me put these together. Okay. It will actually let me put these very close together, I guess because of the way the blades are oriented. Okay, well that's, again, perfectly fine for me. Now, I want to put these pretty close together, basically because I'm going to connect these up with wire. And I want these to be pretty close to save me on resources. So it's a pretty simple process for me in determining how close I want them. And also because if I need to end up adding more, I have room out to the side here for these guys. Now, it's not the most beautiful setup for sure, but hopefully it'll do the deed. All right. So now we need to connect these up with some wire and then get our wiring inside. Okay, so let's start with our vertical cables and go. We're going to go up one somewhere Where is my vertical cable line up? Somewhere on this thing. There it is. I was going to say somewhere on this thing, vertical cables line up. All right, let's do another one. Wow, that cable didn't come out near as far as I thought it was going to. There we go. That's more like it. Okay, so we're going to do that, and I may run out of cable. If I do, that's not really a problem because I am going to connect these two. All right, so let's hop up here. I think I'm going to need to go one more high on each of these. Then I think we're going to be good to just take this right inside. Now let's run back a little bit here. I don't want to take too much time because quite frankly I don't care a whole lot about what it looks like. Okay, I think we're good there on the height. At least I hope so. If not, then we'll deal with that. Okay, now the next thing I want to do is connect these things together. Now I've got some straight electrical cables for that. All right, so this is going to be problem. Okay, so I don't want it to go that way. Okay, so this thing is going to play hard to get with me. Let's see if, all right, first of all, can you run into these things? And it doesn't look like it because, all right, now here's where you get to see the turning radius of the dragons or the wyverns in full effect. Because these guys, okay, let's try to get, all right, and naturally, see, these guys handle like a Mack truck. This is horrendous. All right, so we see this is why, this is one of the very frustrating things about them. So I was going to use them either to sit on its back and do this or simply to get on the roof. That's not going to happen because they are so dadgum frustrating to maneuver around. So we'll just use the standard RG. Okay, let's get the RG up here. All right, now let's see what we can work with here. So again, doesn't seem to be any collision there, which is a great thing. All right, let's go back to these. Why do you not want to connect this way? Okay, so you don't want to connect this way. All right, and plus I'm actually up too high. No problem. All right, so we're gonna, looks like, have to go out and do this a different way. Okay, it's going to make me use a junction. I did not see that coming. All right, we'll go ahead and use a junction. Now we're going to need some more materials because I was not counting on using a junction here. I was actually counting on... Okay, so if I use another junction, I'll be able to get these guys and then down inside the building. Okay, so let's go. I'll be right back after I make a couple of more pieces that we're going to need. All right, welcome back, everyone. All right, after a delay that took longer than I wanted it to, I realized that as best I could figure out, because the wind turbines were not exactly level with each other on the ground, I could not get the wires to connect up to create a single network, which created, it made me furious, quite frankly, to think that it was off by so little, you know, just maybe a foot, a few inches, something like that, and I could not get it to connect up. So I decided the next best thing is, I mean, the reality is with 85% wind percentage, as you can see in the top left, again, third line down on the top left, it says Southern Mountains, which is the location where I'm at. Then right next to that, 85% W. W stands for wind. And at 85%, both of the wind turbines should be spinning at any given time. Well, because of that, I figure both of them will be spinning most of the time. So what I've done to try to hedge my bets, and I have no idea how effective this is going to be, but I'm going to give it a shot. what I decided to do is I connected up both of them and ran outlets into the house. Now, I hate the way this looks, but it kind of is what it is right now. All right, so what I've done is I took the first wind turbine and put a box here and here. That way, if it's the only one running, and there are electrical devices in through here, which I'm thinking, I can't remember exactly how many others there are, but if I put another refrigerator up here, air conditioners, etc., then they should be able to connect to that one. The second wind turbine has electrical boxes here and here. I think between any of two of these should be able to reach most anything I put up here and provide electricity sort of as a fail-safe. Now, at any given time, I expect that both of these will be turning. But should that not turn out to be the case, then so be it. You know, I don't think anything will be just mission critical up here anyway. But you can see the way the wiring looks up top. All right, it looks terrible. Again, I despise it. In fact, I even had a glitch where both of the wind turbines stopped working for a point in time, and I thought it was because there was collision here with these wires running through, but the more I looked at it and played around with this, no, it didn't turn out to be that at all. It was some sort of glitch. I don't think they stopped working because of wind, although that's a possibility. But, you know, I started playing around with the different configurations until finally I decided I'm just going to try to hedge my bets here and run 2 outlets off of each one of these at a distance that should be far enough that it will reach anything and everything I put up top. Time will tell. It's an ugly setup to look at, and this is not how I had planned it, but we shall see how it all turns out. Now, the second part of what I wanted to accomplish today, since everything went so fine with the electricity setup, is I wanted to use oil rigs. Now, as you can see, I have 2 oil pumps here. And what you do with these is you're going to put these over oil slicks. Now, oil slicks, I'm going to show you where those are located. So far, I've only seen them in 2 locations. And as we fly over, they're on the far east of the map, on top of little plateaus. So we're going to fly over there, and as you can see with the Dragon, now, granted, he may not be moving quite as fast as the RG, but he's moving along quite nicely. So over in this area, there are some plateaus. And on these plateaus, you'll find oil slicks. Now, I haven't even attempted to find all of them because, quite frankly, I don't need all of them. Being a single player server, I don't really need anything close to all of those. First of all, it's showing that we're hot. Oh, it's 123 degrees. That will do it. Okay. So here's what I've done. Let's pull the old GPS out of here. There are 2 oil veins or oil slicks side by side right over in this area. The first 2 we're going to encounter are at 58.9 and 76.1. So they are right around here. I've actually apparently just gone by them. All right, so 56, 50. All right, no wonder we're going the wrong way. All right, if you look on the ground, you can see these things. There are, as best I remember over here on this particular one, there are about 6 to 8 in this general area, and I must have flown right by. There are 2 sitting right next to each other. Yeah, here we go. So we're looking for, let's see. Let's show you a couple of these. They're all over this particular area. In fact, here's 2 right here. Let's take a look at these 2. Now you can see as there's a dire wolf over there. I mean, this is a dangerous area. And we're at 55.1 or 55.2 and 81.9. So as you can see, there are a couple of these things over here. Now, first things first, let's get rid of these dire wolves just so they won't be causing any trouble. Let's go ahead and get them to attack. This shouldn't take very long. Okay. As you can see, there's also quite a bit of metal up here. Okay, why are we flying around? Okay, fine. Alright, so we're flying around for no good reason. And let's land. And now you can see what these oil slicks look like up close. Now, you can't, funny thing is, you might think, well, I'll just pull out the pickaxe and I'll get some oil this way. It doesn't seem to work that way. Not that I've seen anyway. So we're going to put these, oops, we left them on the dragon. So these oil pumps, we are going to put these in the inventory here. And first one, you can see it won't allow you to place it anywhere except for over the top of an oil slick. All right, let's go ahead and place that one down and then come over here and place our second one down. Now we have two oil slicks. As you can imagine, on a PvP server, these would be prized locations up on top of the plateau here. Unfortunately, I have not seen any water up here, meaning that I don't think that you'd be able to build like a constant base up here with a water source and that kind of thing. Now, the idea is, the way these things work is every 20 seconds, they produce one oil. And you can see they have 15 slots, so there's room for quite a bit of oil to build up in here. So the good thing is, they do not require any electricity, so you can just leave these things going. Now, my one concern from the beginning, whenever I started looking into this, because quite frankly, as you know, being a single player server, and who knows, in the future I might open it up and have some additional players on here with me. But on a single player server, I don't need tons and tons of oil, so one of these would be really overkill for me. But with two of these here, and there are at least two more locations on this plateau that I've seen where two oil slicks are located very close by. So there's a lot of oil to be had in this area. And then again, the other, let's pull up the map here and show you where we are. The other plateau that's just to the north and slightly to the west of this, I would assume has the very same characteristics. A lot of oil slicks, at least 6 to 8, if not more, since it looks to be at least the same size as this plateau. And then there's also a smaller plateau to make a total of 3 over here, and I would imagine it probably has at least a couple on it as well. So these would be prized locations for the oil on this particular map. Let's see. So now we've gotten, just in this short amount of time, we've gotten 5 here and 6 over here. So not bad at all. My plan is just to let these things go for quite a while, and then I'll come back later on whenever I need oil for a particular reason to craft something or to create more gasoline. And that will be my source of gas. Again, after 400 hours in the game, I'm at a point where I'm looking for something to, something new to try, something new to do. And this seems to be, something new to try, something new to, grind resources on and try to get a little farther in the game, see what else I can accomplish. Thank you guys for watching the video today. I know it was kind of a train wreck, but hey, I do videos and try to keep it real. I'm not staging anything. What you guys are seeing is what I'm doing as I'm learning. So I appreciate you guys sticking in there with me. Feel free to leave any comments or suggestions you may have, and we'll see you next time.